10 minutes and the floor is yours. Just push the button there on the front. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Well, so my name's Gerard Pain. So I'm from down Central Hawke's Bay, and my main concern in life at the moment is trying to stop you people building a dam in the Makarara River. But I do have other things I'd like to. Seeing as we're not supposed to be talking about that today, there are other things that I think need in your draft annual plan. I basically worked on what came out in the Our Place newsletter, and I sort of worked my way through that. I understand you've got my submission in front of you, is that right? So I don't need to, I'm not supposed to read it out. Just one point on hydraulic fracturing. There's a staff, staff summary came around, and at the top of it's draft annual plan submissions on oil and gas exploration policy development. Has people got that? Everyone onto it? So they've got me down as being number 21, Gerard Pain, and then down in paragraph 2 down below it says, according to number 21, submitters have mixed views.
Page 26 of the agenda, councillors. Sorry,
okay, thank you. Submitters have mixed views on the need for a regional oil and gas plant. Some suggest there is a merit in a regional strategy. And someone said, it's number 21, apparently me, says, as long as it prohibits exploration and development. I mean, that to me is, I drove here in a car. I mean, that wasn't what I said. Basically, my problem is at the moment is with hydraulic fracturing. It's not, we can't stop oil and gas exploration altogether. I mean, otherwise, none of us would be here today, probably. So that's just a correction. I mean, I'm not a complete Luddite. I'm not against everything. So basically, it means at the top of the paragraph 1 at the top, submission 1 at the top, it says prohibition or moratorium on oil and gas exploration. Well, I mean, that might be attributable to me, according to what's been summarised. Well, that's incorrect. And then number 4, it says oil and gas policy for Hawke's Bay should be developed that prohibits the exploration and development. Well, if I'm being attributed to that too, well, once again, that's incorrect. It's not what I'm saying at all. So just minor point. Right, so going down to my submission, I mean, we're looking at investments. I mean, so the RWSS stuff has been deferred to meetings in a couple of weeks' time. I'd just like to just emphasise that the ends do not justify the means. To me, the means are the destruction of the Makarara River, and I think there are other ways of achieving the goals, and that's why I have in my submission I've talked about building dams on the farms where the water is needed, and then grading wetlands and riparian margins, and that's all outlined. And I say I'll cover that in more detail in a couple of weeks' time. As you can probably see, I haven't got a hang of a lot of faith in the consultation process that's it's being conducted, and that's why I've called for it that we actually do need to have a referendum of all Hawke's Bay ratepayers, asking whether the regional council should invest in this project. and then on an ongoing basis that the price is subsidised. The price of water is being subsidised. I think ratepayers need to be asked. So anyway, with time, I'll move on to the Narrowera water scheme. I mean, the council talks about feasibility, just carrying on with the feasibility study at this time. I think that needs to, even the feasibility program needs to be stopped. Just you know, I mean, I don't think, you know, I don't think how the Rural Tanawa water scheme has been handled is it all does you any service at all. So I think you need to just sit back from that for the moment. So moving on to the Napier-Gisborne Railway. Once again, there was an omission. Then I'm in favour of the railway being reinstated. My Gerard Pain number 21 wasn't listed in the staff's summary. So you know, there's yeah. I mean, at the moment, the regional council seems to have an out on the basis that the government has to put it back into good fit for purpose. Well, I mean, this government's not going to do that. They're shirking their responsibilities. So I think I agree with the Napier-Gisborne Railway short line establishment group that the Hawke's Bay Regional Council is going to need to step up to the mark on this program. Not just the government's, this government's not going to do with it. In the staff submissions, it's somewhere it talks about submissions proposing alternatives. They talk about Jerry Brownlee and I think Steve, the other guy, Stephen Joyce. I think he gets a mention somewhere too. I mean, they're basically saying that basically saying Highway 2 seems able to cope with the demands at the moment, so we don't need the railway line. Well, I mean, that's head in the sand thinking as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there's a program on Maori television last night, basically took a crude awakening, just looking at what's going to happen with the oil industry slowing down. We're going to, some stage, the price of oil is going to get that scarce. The oil is going to get that scarce. The price is going to go through the roof. So we'll need railways. We won't be able to use trucks to cart stuff up and down between Gisborne and Napier, or in between forever. So moving on, as say in my submission, I got talking about this is on page 3 of my submission. Oh no, sorry, about rates on top of page 3 of my submission. I'm opposed to the rates being increased by 5.8% this year. I mean, if it hadn't sold certain assets to build up a slush fund for the RWSS, well, we'd still be earning income. I understand from Liz Lambert that that $80 million is currently earning 4%. If that money is taken out, if the $80 million is invested in the scheme, then that's 4% of 80 million is, you do the figures. It's 3.2 million or something a year of assisting ratepayers is gone. So anyway, now moving on, and so instead of investing in the RWSS, I've made an alternative suggestion about encouraging and financially supporting all landowners to do riparian plantings and to create wetland reserves, and then also to, instead of wrecking the Makaroa River, that the council needs to encourage landowners to irrigate, to build water storage dams on their own properties. In the staff summary, they mentioned on, which one's that?
Your 10 minutes are up.
Yeah, I'm just about there.
Very quickly, yeah.
Yeah, but basically it says in the staff summary on land management, paragraph 6, it says that Gerard Pain should be, Mr. Pain may not be aware that HBRC is involved in encouraging a subsidised farmers suggested through the regional land care scheme for the past 15 years. I mean, that's basically planting a considerable number of poles and that sort of thing. I'm talking about some major initiatives. Sort of thing. If there's $80 million to be spent, available to be spent on helping the environment and the water quality, then it could be better spent on a much more on tree planting and fencing off sensitive areas.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Pain, for your submission, and we will consider it in due course throughout the next couple of days. So thank you.
No one needs any clarification on what I'm trying to say?
Well, you've used up your 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So,
great. Thank you.
Okay. Federated Farmers Rhea Dasent. Rhea, of course. Right. Thank you. So,
Mr. Chair, can you just warn people when they get to the 8 minutes?
Yeah,
so
that's a good
So
point.
we've got some time for questions because Councillor Bevan had questions.
To be fair, though, it is their time. They use it as they see fit. But that is a good point.
Just let them know that
Thank you.
if they use the whole time.
That is a good point. Thank you. 10 minutes, that's it. Yep.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, as these come up, could someone just indicate the page number for staff responses, because they're...
Yep, Chief Executive will take that one on
Sure,
board.
yeah, I will, thank you. Some of them are split over a number of reports, so it really depends on the particular matters that they want to raise in their verbal submission. But I'll find Federated.
Yeah, we had two staff responses. One was to the rates, and the other one was to biosecurity.
Anyway, the 10 minutes, and I will give you a warning at 8 minutes, which is good advice from Councillor Graham.
Thank you. Good morning, councillors. My name is Rhea Dasent. I am here representing Federated Farmers Hawke's Bay today, and my own family are also farming and ratepayers of the Regional Council here. So my submission today, I'm going to talk about three themes: the Uniform Annual General Charge, pest control and remission policies. So I'll start off with the Uniform Annual General Charge. So we were unable to find clear reporting of the level of the UAGC use as a percentage of total rates funding, leaving readers to calculate this themselves from the information given. At only $28.41, we calculated that the UAGC is only at about 10.9%, and this is compared to the 30% legislative maximum. We encourage the Council to clearly report the UAGC percentage as required by the Local Government Act. We note that the staff response clarified that the UAGC was at 23.28%, which is at a level that's better than we initially thought, but we would like more clarification on how the Council's calculation is so different from ours. So Federated Farmers supports the maximum use of the UAGC as an equitable rating method that enables all ratepayers to contribute the same amount towards activities that they receive equal benefit from, regardless of their property value. We consider that there are plenty of opportunities to increase the UAGC and use it to fund activities that provide an equal benefit to all ratepayers. I mean, we appreciate that the Regional Council offsets rates by using its investment income, but we think that rates could be even more equitable if the UAGC was increased further. So we note that the Council is concerned about addressing some of the rate level volatility experienced by ratepayers in the community whose land values have increased more than average. But we consider that the way of addressing volatility is to use a UAGC, which is not dependent on land value. So I had a little list of things in my submission that I thought we could shift to UAGC because Federated Farmers felt that they reflected equal value to all ratepayers. They had strategic planning, regulation, governance, and community engagement. All of these activities provide an equal benefit to all our ratepayers. I did note that in the annual plan on page 38 of Part 3, which is financial information, explanation of rating information, rating methods, that general rates and the uniform annual general charge were actually reported in the same box. So it's a bit difficult for ratepayers to work out if they're being charged for these activities that are listed here the same as all ratepayers in the region, or whether they're being charged on a land value basis. So that transparency and clarity over what rating method is used is really important to us. So I'll move on to animal and plant pest control. So Federated Farmers is really happy with the successful possum area control program. A lot of farmers have been talking about how great this is. They've really noticed drops in possum numbers, increase in native birds, and their trees are surviving better. And of course we get the lower TB risk benefit as well. So we're really appreciative of the Council's pest control program. But we submit that a hybrid funding model be introduced so that smaller properties can also contribute to the Council's pest and weed control activities, which reflects the benefit that they do receive. So the pest control activity is to be funded on a targeted rate with an area basis. So all rateable land over about 4 hectares, which was calculated to be 10 acres, will contribute to this targeted rate. So only those properties over 10 acres contribute. So Federated Farmers would like to see a uniform charge also used in conjunction with this area rate so that smaller properties can also contribute. So we felt that urban properties now receive a higher level of service from the Regional Council. Possum control program has been extended into urban areas. There is a privet control program, and I also saw that there was rabbit management in urban areas as well. Lifestyle properties often lack the knowledge that farmers do about what pests and weeds to look out for and how to control them, and often exacerbate the problem. The benefits of council activities in pest and weed control also provide a benefit to lifestyle and urban properties. The pest management strategy, the council pest management strategy, even acknowledged that occupiers of properties less than 4 hectares are receiving 25% of the benefit, so it's appropriate that they also contribute to the cost. And the Horizons Regional Council provides an example of 2-tier funding. For their Old Man's Beard control in Rangatiki, they have a rate for properties that are larger than 4 hectares, which is $35 per separately used or inhabited part, and a rate for properties smaller than 4 hectares, which is $4.90. So the larger properties paid $35 and the smaller properties paid $4.90. This reflects that larger properties may receive more benefit, but it also recognises that smaller properties benefit from the activity as well. So Horizons also have another 2-tier method of rating depending on property size for their production pest plant activities, which is implementing the regional pest strategy. The rate for small under 4 hectare properties is 19 cents per property and 0.064 cents per hectare for larger properties. So we encourage this council to consider a hybrid funding model which allows smaller properties to contribute to pest and weed control in a way that is economical for the council to collect, because I do understand that the council was concerned about a rate on smaller properties actually being economical for you to rate. So I'll move on to remission policies now. We note that the staff response to our submission on remission policies says that the time to look at such policies is during the long-term plan. So we appreciate that is an appropriate time. So we hope that the Council will listen to our submission today and keep it in mind for next year's development of the long-term plan. Although QE2 land is classified as non-rateable under Schedule 1 of the Local Government Rating Act, it is still unclear to landowners whether they need to apply to their council to take this into account when their rates are calculated, or if QV actually makes note of QE2 land when working out rateable value. QV works on a mass appraisal system and doesn't look at individual property characteristics. The Waikato Regional Council has a remission policy for QE2 land, as does Kapiti Coast District and the Central Hawke's Bay District. We consider that the Regional Council needs to have a remission policy to ensure that QE2 land is not being rated. And QE2 land is not the only land subject to protection. The Hastings District Council has identified 8 outstanding natural landscapes, 9 significant amenity landscapes, and 58 areas of special Indigenous vegetation. So much of this land identified in the Hastings District Plan occurs
2 minutes remaining. Yeah.
on privately owned rural land, and protection is intended as a public good, and rules inhibiting the economic utilisation of this land. So we would really appreciate if the Regional Council provided a rate remission policy to recognise that protected land is a public benefit. And that concludes my spoken part of the submission, and I'm available for any questions you have.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Bevan, missed out last time. Here you go.
Yeah, hi Rhea. I'm interested to know in your comments about the Uniform Annual General Charge, are you aware of the percentage in some other regions that can compare with the 23 point whatever it is % here?
Well, when we calculated the UAGC, this regional council looked to be only about 10%, which is incredibly low compared to a lot of other regional councils around the country. I mean, we always encourage all councils to get as close to the 30% maximum. I think the Waikato Regional Council is pretty close to the maximum. But, you know, when we calculated that 10%, that was really, really low compared to a lot of our other councils. So I think it would be quite useful, seeing our calculation was so different from the staff calculation, that it's actually shown in the annual plan. But 23% is it's a could do better level for us.
And I'm just wondering whether is it appropriate for the staff to maybe explain how the calculation between what you've done and what the staff are reporting to us are so far apart?
Yeah, I think that would be.
Yeah, if Rhea's happy for us to use her time to do that, if you're okay with that.
Well, if there's any other questions.
Just have one more question.
Yeah.
One last question. The time's up. Anyway,
Okay.
so wait.
I think, Mr. Chairman, it's actually listed down here on page 37, first paragraph, the very end of the first paragraph, where I've got...
What part was that,
That's
sorry?
first paragraph under number 1.
Is it part 3 or part 2 or part 1 page?
Part 1. Page 37, part 1.
Sorry, it's the council agenda.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I'll just read it out to you. The percentage for this council for the 14-15 draft annual plan is 23.28, which is within the 30% threshold described by the Act. Included in this calculation, not only the UAGC, which is what you've taken, but all the UAGC for general rates. As well as that, the Act says that we should take uniform annual charges where that's imposed, and we've got uniform annual charges for, which is a fixed, as you're aware, fixed rate per rating unit for Karamu drainage and enhancement, economic development and emergency management, which they're big programs, so everyone pays the same for all those programs. So when the rating for all those programs gets added onto the uniform annual general charge, we pop up to about 24%.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, because we just calculated just on the UAGC, and I wonder, is the Karamu drainage rate region-wide, is it? No. Okay.
But the economic development and emergency management is.
Okay, so we would probably...
The Act's quite clear that where you've got a fixed charge, wherever it is, it needs to be added in.
Okay,
Perhaps this is a conversation you could take up offline.
Yeah, okay.
Going forward. And thank you very much for your presentation, Rhea.
Thank you very much for listening to me today.
Thank you. Okay, now...